Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to kind of dive in and show you the numbers for my sinking fund, savings tracker, and my credit card transaction log. As you can see, there's a lot less filled in this month than it has been in previous months. I have not been spending this month. I have been keeping the cash and not really spending, kind of hunkered down at home. And it feels kind of good to slow down and not have all these numbers all over the place. So I'm super excited about that. So what I want to do is go ahead and pop these pages out and go ahead and walk you through how I do my sinking funds and what those are, and talk about my savings tracker. I'm not going to fill it out because there's an extra paycheck this month that's going to go into savings, and I don't know how much it's going to be because it's not just a regular salary check. It's going to have overtime, and I won't know what that overtime is until next week. And walk you through my credit card log, which I love showing. Not a lot of people do, but I like showing it so that you can, if you need to or have to, raise your credit score and you want to use your credit card to do that, but you want to do it responsibly, a credit card log is the best way to do it. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. I've had a lot of new subscribers and you are amazing, amazing, amazing. And I love that you're watching these videos. And if you want to support my channel more, subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Go ahead and give it a like and put a comment below on how your budget's doing and how you tend to keep from overspending, or what is it, tips and tricks that you may have, like I do with my credit card log, to not abuse your credit or abuse your cash, and stay within budget. So I would love to hear some feedback on that. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to zoom you guys in, pop these pages out, and we'll get started. Okay, so these are my sinking funds, and sinking funds, simply put, is a mini savings category, a very small savings category where you specifically save for specific items that you either spend once a year or regularly every month, depending on how you spend your money, and you need to compartmentalize it even more to stay on track. And it's a very effective, simple way of budgeting. It's a little more tedious than having like a big broad budget, like a spending category for just groceries for the entire month or for the entire paycheck period, or whatever your system is as far as spending. So you could do this any way you want, what works for you. What works for me is those surprise once a year transactions that you've subscribed for and you want the lowest price possible, like Amazon Prime. $119 a year is cheaper than paying the monthly fee, $12.99 or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. It could be $1 or $2 or even $6 or $7 less if you do it that way. It may not sound like a lot, but when you're trying to pay off debt and save money and set up your emergency fund, little amounts like that make a big difference in the long run. So I typically do a lot of annual expenses so that I can save a few dollars here and there. And that's what I do with Amazon Prime. It's $119 a year, and I just divide it by 12. It's almost $10 a month. It's a $1 off kind of thing, so I kind of leave that in the savings account. But I use one savings account for all my sinking funds, and I have several categories in those sinking funds, but they're all commingled together in one savings account. And then when I need them leading up to that year or that month that they're due, I have a calendar that tells me when they're due, and I have alerts in my phone, like Amazon Prime. It comes out September 13th for me. And on September 1st, I'll have an annual pop-up that says, hey, your Amazon Prime is about to come out. This way, if I miss the email saying, oh, we're going to auto draft this out this month, if they even send it at all. Sometimes I don't even think they send it, but I can't remember from past years. I know last year they did. I can remember that I need that money from the sinking funds and have it ready in my checking account before it even hits. So, or if it hits and I'm like, oh no, I forgot about it, then I can just transfer the money out of the savings account and put it in my checking account, and everything's covered. So, which is why it's always good to have a buffer in your checking account where your bills are taken out of, and having sinking funds is really awesome for those once a year expenses. So especially when if you don't carry a large sum of money in your checking account that could take that kind of hit. this is a great option for you. I went ahead and wrote everything down as far as when I set up my sinking funds earlier this month. So this is me closing it out. So I'm going to just kind of push this up a little bit. I hate moving the decoration because I love the pumpkins and sunflowers. It's so pretty, but I want to get all the numbers on here. So Amazon Prime, that I'm just going to kind of tick off what did not where I didn't have anything come out, because most of these don't, like I say, they're annual expenses. They don't come out very often. These didn't come out. I didn't anything here. The only thing I actually needed so far is, wait a minute. Now I've lost where it is. Oh, here it is. The senior year fund. So my son is a senior in high school. Last year I saved up all year, $100 a month for about 10 months, giving us $1,000. And I've already bought his yearbook. I've bought his senior portraits. I've bought his cap and gown stuff. And that is what I paid for this time. And that was $225.10. And I have a little, I had a little sticky note over here. I like to use these little sticky things. And it sits like this until I'm ready to write it down and show you guys. I was looking for that to make sure I had the right number. But that was what I spent out of it. And then Canva, I have not spent anything. Child tax credit, I did add $250 that came in a deposit. I've been saving it in here until tax season. And if we don't really need it for our son right now that we're getting the money for, because we can sustain whatever it is that he needs and cover all that. So this child tax credit is basically sitting in savings until taxes next year. If we happen to owe on taxes because we did get the credit and it kind of throws things a little wonky in our tax returns or anything like that, then we can use this money to pay anything we owe on taxes. If not, next year, it'd be a great graduation gift. I mean, that would be kind of cool to give him that kind of money to spend on what he needs after graduation. So that's kind of cool, because after his birthday in June of next year, guess what? He's not on my taxes anymore. He's not part of our system. So yeah, I won't be getting that credit anymore. Which is fine. He's an adult. He'll be an adult, and we're super excited for him. So a child tax credit I added, but I didn't take anything out. Dividends was added in. We have it in a very extremely low yield savings, just a general savings and checking account that you get at a bank, a credit union, and you get pennies. And I just throw the pennies into one little thing so that I can have an accurate number when I close out my budget. So this is the only thing that came out. So I would put $225 here and 10 cents. So the new ending balances here. Let me find my calculator because I cannot math in my head. Sorry, I have lost it for a second. There we go. And let me go ahead and just kind of make room for all this. So these are the beginning balances right here. This is what we're adding and taking out, and then we're going to do the ending balance. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to fast forward through this part, and then we'll go over the numbers and move on to the savings tracker, which I'm really excited about because we have an extra paycheck with overtime. I don't have all the numbers yet, but I'll tell you, kind of explain what that's going to look like, and then we'll close out my credit card log, and then, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, I am back. So here is the whole breakdown. This is everything I added. I did a deposit as far as how I do my deposits for the savings account. If I have to spend out of the savings account and I'm making regular deposits every month, the first thing I do is reduce the deposit. So I reduce the deposit by $225.10. and left that in my checking account. And then what was left over, I deposit it into this account. And then when I subtract from this category, this money gets reallocated to all these other little categories. It's one checking account. I'm just compartmentalizing the one checking account into different categories, and the numbers come out in the end the way they should, because you have the appropriate amount of money and you've still been able to take care of what you needed to spend. Now, my sinking funds deposit is always at the end of the month because that's when I have the most disposable income. That is something you will have to factor when you do a saving or sinking funds. Sometimes people run sinking funds out of a separate checking account as a spending category kind of area where they do clothes and they do their utilities that aren't every month. They do, if they have every other month or quarterly utilities that they pay, and instead of getting that big hit for $200 or $300 for 3 months or 2 months of expense, they save a little bit every month, and then that hits the account and then it gets taken out, and it doesn't impact their budget very much. And so there's so many ways you can use sinking funds and make it very beneficial for you and your family. So at this moment, at this time, right now we have, and I'm going to do the numbers across because I totaled them all the way here, but right now we have $3,349.13, and that extra money is literally because of the child tax credit, $1,000 of it. Normally my sinking funds hover around $2,000 a month. They go up, they go down, depending on what's spending at the end of the month. But because I did have this senior year thing, and that's depleted. This is a one-time sinking fund just for this school year. And after this school year, my son's done with school and we won't need it anymore. So if there's anything left over, I can just reallocate it to some of the other areas, or I can use the money for something or gift the money, whatever I want to do. I mean, it's totally up to the family and the individual of how it should be allocated. So let's make sure this totals exactly the way it should across. I started with $2,942.93 in beginning of the month. I added $631.30, including the interest that was in the account. And then I'm going to subtract the $225.10, and I have the correct number, $3,349.13. My spreadsheet, I'm looking at my computer off to the side too. It says the same exact number, so I did my math correctly. I am very proud of myself. So there's that. That is my sinking funds. They have been reconciled for the month of October, and they look fine. Now, some sinking funds I don't have to fund, like Canva's fully funded. It's an annual expense, $120, and I don't need to use it until next year. And then when I use it, because I had extra money, I just kind of put it under this category. When I finally do use this sinking fund, then I'm going to start doing like $10 a month. So once it's fully funded, I don't add to it if there is a cutoff. If it's something that revolves like cell phone and technology, I just throw $100 a month in there, because technology always needs upgrading, is always changing and growing. And so, yeah, having a revolving, just throwing it in there and spending it as you need it kind of thing, that is good. I actually paid, because I was switching from Sprint to T-Mobile, and we owned our phones, but the billing schedule was at the beginning of the month of T-Mobile, where Sprint did it at the, where my Sprint account, I think it was September, it was due on the 24th, but it was all the transactions for August, the 1st through the 30th, 31st, whatever it is in August. And so they were all due. The Sprint was due on the 20th, or T-Mobile was due on the 23rd, and Sprint was due on the 24th of September, and they were both $200 a piece. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So because it was technology and it was a bill that I wasn't expecting, I was able to pull from my cell phone tech category that $200 for T-Mobile, that bill I wasn't expecting, and use that sinking fund to cover it, so it did not impact our budget at all, and kind of saved our little butts here. So that was pretty awesome. Let's see, what else have we got? So because I did Amazon Prime in September, this is kind of low, and that'll build up all year. Disney Plus is $69.99, and we're close to that, and I don't really owe that until end of November, I believe, but I did get an email notice that this is going up to $79.99 a year, so that will change once the new bill hits. And actually, the new bill will be $79.99 coming, what am I talking about? Actually, it'll be the next time it renews in December or end of November, it'll be $79.99. So what I'm going to do is for November, make up the difference and add that to this account. Or just pay out of pocket in my regular checking, because it's only going to be a few dollars. So if I add, let's see, 64.13 plus another 5.83, that's almost $69.99. So 3 cents difference. And the reason I do it this way is because I know I have change down here in interest, and that always covers it. And then I always have a couple thousand in the account. Any change will be covered, no big deal. And so I'm going to take that plus the $79.99. And so I need $10.03. So my budget can handle $10.03 as far as the difference for Disney Plus for the $79.99. But starting December 1st, I'm going to have to change that to $6.67 monthly put away, because $6.67 times 12 months is $80, and that's a little more than what I need. Maybe 6 times 12. Yeah. So $79.99. I can either do, I'll probably do the $6.67 times 12, and that gives me $80.04 to keep the Disney Plus, because who doesn't love Disney Plus? And who, I watch it. We enjoy the different shows that are on there, and we love like The Mandalorian and Loki and Star Wars and all the things that are on there, and plus the old original Disney movies and stuff like that. My kids love watching it, even though they're pretty much adult sons, but they love watching all the things. And so it's important that we have this. We're willing to pay for it. If it gets too high, I don't know if we're going to keep it, but if we don't watch it enough, but I want to make sure we're watching enough content to pay the $79.99 a year. So there's that. So that'll be going up. Apple subscription, I have not gotten notification that's going to go up, so I'm going to keep that the way it is. Termite and spray. So we have Orkin for our home to keep the pest away, and it works very well. And so I have a yearly contract for termite, which is $2.99, and then I have quarterly at $88. And so you combined those, that total together, it averages about $55 a month. And so I just put that in there, and I pay them as they come. Heating and AC is $20 a month. It's also another contract that they should be calling us soon to service our heater, but they do it in the spring and the fall as under the contract, so that we can be taken care of, and those our heat and AC will be clean and running at tip-top shape. And if there's anything that they see that might be wrong, they can fix it. So as it happens, or before anything happens, so that's good there. Like I said, City of Chesapeake, that is our vehicle property tax. Between our two vehicles, we have a Jeep Wrangler and a Nissan Armada. They're both, one's 8 years old, one's 11 years old, and the property tax here in Virginia was $588. And then we have stormwater that we pay twice a year, which is $44.10. So double that is $88.20. And so all that combined, divided by 12, we average $57 a month. So when next year comes, we can pay the property tax, and it won't take a big hit to our account. Christmas fund, we are almost fully funded. My goal was $600. This will be for entertainment during Christmas. This will be a few gifts, few ideas there. This is not the family buying Christmas. My husband typically does get overtime during this time of year, and we just use that, and then the family sends money. Even though we're all adults in this house, they still want to send us money to buy us gifts, and we're like, we're not turning that down. So we take that and we celebrate Christmas that way. Though this year might be a little different because the supply chain has been interrupted, and not only the supply chain is interrupted, but also the prices of everything are going up. So it may be hard to get things shipped out. And then mailing things have been interrupted. It's been crazy getting that done. And so mailing prices have gone up. So you may not get everything on time. So if you have stuff you want to buy, especially those number one purchase toys, you want to buy them now while they're on the shelves, because they're not going to be on the shelves later. If possible. Now, don't go into debt doing it or anything like that. I don't recommend that. But my kids and I have decided that if it's not available, we'll still order it. If it comes after Christmas, we'll just celebrate Christmas and opening gifts all the way through until everything's delivered. So but we're all adults. So we're probably going to do smaller stuff to celebrate Christmas, homemade stuff, things we can get now, and then the bigger stuff that we really wanted maybe later. So that's what we're planning to do for that vacation. If we take a weekend to visit my parents, which we'll be using this for hotel, going into Veterans Day weekend, just before Veterans Day weekend. I think it's that Sunday before. We're going to go to my parents' church. It's veterans, and they want to have a talk, my husband to talk and have an opportunity there. He is a veteran. He is a retired Navy. So, and this church was very integral in praying for my husband for 20 years of service. I have a P.O. box if you ever want to send snail mail or a card or anything. I can talk about on my channel. You know, I would love to get stuff like that. You can mail. And so, but I also use it for my business and stuff like that. I pay every 6 months, and this is where the money comes from. It's about $17 a month. Business licenses and stuff, I save $10 a month on that. Senior year, we saved, but I didn't add anything new. I'm using the same numbers I used when my other son graduated 5.5 years ago. So far it's working, and we got just under $500 still, and we don't really have to pay for anything else until the end of the school year, when cap and gown portraits are done and things like that. And in fact, this weekend I'm doing my own senior photos of Jack wearing his everyday clothes, not just a tuxedo, bow tie, yearbook photo. And so, and then I have Shutterfly print them off, and they always look great. So I'm excited about that. I don't have to add anything to Canva. That's how I do these digital budget sheets. I create these on Canva, and then I sell them on Etsy. And then child tax credit, again, I'm just saving it until tax season, and then if we need it, we can use it. Dividends, that's just a placeholder for any extra dividends that go in the account. Going forward, epidemic sound is the music I'm using for my channel now, and I hope you've been enjoying that. That I have to go back and look. I want to say it's $120 or $140. I don't know, I got 2 months free or something like that if I pay annually, so that's going to be an annual expense. I don't think there's anything else I need to think of annually. I would have to go back and check my notes, but I want to go ahead and make a note there. So I'm just going to put annual for November, because I'm using them 1 month free right now, and then once the free is done, then I'll start being charged for that. And I might have 1 or 2 other subscriptions that I've planned to add, but we'll wait and see on that one. And going into November, so you can add and take away from sinking funds all the time. It's really simple to do, and it's a great way to really stay within your budget and not forget your annual expenses. So I do love that. I'm going to move on to savings tracker. So savings tracker, I have a couple types of savings tracker, and I'll show you both of them. This was one I use all the time. And then this one here is another one you can use that's in my shop. So where it's broken down, where you have 8 categories or 10 categories, and you separate it. It's almost like a sinking fund separation, but they're boxes. And a lot of people like the look of this, and how it compartmentalizes the starting balance, how much you added, what you took out, and what your ending balance is. It definitely is a good way of tracking. So I'm trying this out, but I won't be filling this out until I get my numbers. I don't know what my numbers are. And oops, hit my lamp over here. But this is how I traditionally do it, and this is one of my most, the sinking funds, this one, and this sheet I sell all the time. These are my most popular, and my 100 cash envelope digital product. Let me see if I can find that really quick. These are my top 3 sellers in my shop, and people just seem to love them. In fact, the last 3 or 4 orders that I've gotten recently have all been either in Australia or New Zealand, which I thought was very interesting. But here we go. So I also have this 100 envelope challenge. So you color in the envelopes. I'm not really using it like I should, but and if you do the 100 envelopes, which each envelope you just add 1 to 100 and then put the money away, that gives you $5,050. And then I even do a number page for you to cut the numbers out. And then I give a little instruction sheet. This is my other popular page. So this is one PDF that you get in my shop that has all 3 of those pages, and you can start your own cash envelope system at home. And I'm thinking about actually selling a physical product with the mini envelopes. And if you're interested in something like this or like to see something like this in my shop, let me know. I don't do physical products, but I'm thinking about doing it for the first of the year and just creating these little mini envelopes. This is a 3x4, I think, size, and you can put, and you number them and put your, laminate them, you can number them, and then you put your cash on the inside. For each of the envelopes. Those are becoming very popular. I'm thinking about doing that for myself. So yeah, let me know about that. Sorry, I need a drink of water. Okay, so I have a plan for savings. This month is one of those crazy months where we had an extra paycheck that's not assigned to anything as far as bills go, because my husband gets government checks on the first of the month, which is a retirement check from the military and a VA disability check. This month, I think he's also getting VA education benefits, but that goes into his account as spending money. That's just where he gets his spending money from. And my son gives us rent every month. So those, the 3 of the 4 items there come in the first of the month. And so any checks at the first, or any bills at the first month, come out of those checks. So this 3rd paycheck on the 29th of October is just an extra paycheck that we can do whatever. And what we're going to do with it is go ahead and save it. Right now, I don't know how much the check's going to be, even though my husband is a he gets a salary employee, but he is currently traveling on business. And when he does, he is getting overtime on top of that, and I just can't keep up with how much overtime is going to be until the paycheck comes, and then I can count it. So I never count on the paycheck except for the salary amount that I know will be there. So what I've done is create the savings for that on this extra piece of paper that I've got. This is from Erin Condren. I got the fall pumpkins. I just couldn't resist that because I love the pumpkins. I just love pumpkins, and my name at the bottom. So here we go. Right now in my savings, as you can see, I have $9,060 for my 6-month emergency fund. I do have $706 for my husband's meals for the ship, because he is a Navy contractor and he has to pay for his meals, and then the company reimburses him. So we keep money aside to cover that so it doesn't come out of our pocket and hit us pretty hard. And then dividends do go in this account. And because I have, it's a low yield account, so it's not a lot of money, $2 or $3 a month, but it is what it is. So in order for my savings tracker to balance with my, oh my gosh, I forgot to pull this out. Okay, I'm back. I had to pop pages out of my notebook. I love a disk system, and I just didn't want to have to mess everything up. But in order for this number to match this 3-month emergency fund that I created in this mason jar, my total that I want for 3 months, which is more than what we need, but it's what makes us feel comfortable, is $18,250. Divided by 12, it's an average of $1,520 or $1,520.83 for 12 lines here that I have for a year, I guess. And so I have built up to this point, but I am still $60 shy, but even though I filled it all in to cover that. So I do need to put that $60 in. I've been waiting for a substantial amount of money that I can transfer in order to do that. So I have, what I need to do is, as I put on here, at the end of this month, when my husband's third paycheck shows up, I need to add $60 from savings, from spending. So my spending categories, which have been very low this month because, again, my husband's gone. We're not spending much. I'm not going out to eat as much. I can definitely pull that $60 from all those spending categories that I'm saving money in. And then we had overtime on paycheck 2 that equaled the amount of $1,416.60. So that's still sitting in my checking account, and I don't want to transfer the money until the third paycheck shows up, so I can do it all at once. And then third paycheck, the salary portion is $2,313.28. That's my husband's take-home salary after, everything that's been taken out, taxes and Roth and all that good stuff. So that's the third paycheck. And then I also want to save another $70.12 from spending, creating a total emergency fund, including this $9,000 of $12,920. That means, let's see here. If I did my math right, who knows, $12,920 divided by the 1520 increments that I have on here, that's 8.5 lines colored in. So let's do that. Let's see, get it all on here. So currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines currently colored in. So that gives me 2.5 lines to color. So that's going to be, all of this will be blue, this will be yellow, and then half of this will be blue. And I normally don't do halves, but I think I might, just to keep the encouragement that it's gone up this far, for our goal as far as what we want to save for 3 months. We are definitely working on a 6 month, but we're just doing the 3 months to start with. And then we're going to move to the 6 month, and we'll do another 3 month goal setting and just kind of keep my savings account at this amount until we get the whole 6 months put aside. And so I'm really excited to see this jar get filled up. I tried to do the 6 month one. I even have the piggies because this is pretty much 50% here. This is a little bit different number because there's 100 piggies here, so it doesn't equal exactly the same, but I still love these. Both of these trackers are in my Etsy store, so if you're interested in either one of these, you can purchase these. And the ink kind of smeared when I printed. That was my fault. That's not how, depending on your ink and depending on how, when the pages are side by side like that, this kind of smeared over here, so that was my fault. Anyway, as it gets full, then you color it in, and then you go on to your next savings goal, because there's always something to save for, So I love these trackers. I do both. I love the piggies. I love the mason jar and all the concepts for that. And it's just really encouraging to hang it on the fridge or on your wall or things like that to save for different things. So I'm really, really super excited about that. So my goal is, and I'm trying to think, there it is. My goal for savings, and I'm going to use this little sticky thing here because this is how I pre-plan a lot of my stuff. If you get the 8.5 by 11 size of my budget sheets, which when you get my budget sheets, you get 3 sizes. You get all 3. 8.5 by 11 Classic Happy Planner and A5, and you can trim the Happy Planner and A5 just print it on a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. But if you do a full-size sheet of paper, these spaces fit perfectly with just regular Post-it skinny Post-it notes. And if you divide it in half, that's 1 for each line. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So if I add all this together, right? If I add all this together, the $60 and just what I want to add to the savings, plus the $14,1660 plus the $2,313.28 plus the $70.12. All right. those items right there, it's $3,860. That is a minimum of what I want to save. Okay, so I'm going to write that number here, $3,860 and 0 cents. I'm just going to kind of draw a line here. There we go. I'm not doing anything here that I'm aware of, and I'm not doing anything there, and that's going to stay the same. So this is a minimum I want to put in the savings tracker, in my savings account for the savings tracker, bringing the total up to this number here that matches what I need for my mason jar. So that's, let me go ahead and pop this off. There we go. Yeah, that fits in there. All right, so that would be a total of $12,920. To the emergency fund, for now, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's probably going to look like this. I love using these little sticky Post-its because if these numbers change, I can just pop them off, put a new one on until I'm ready to actually fill in the paperwork. And I'm just going to leave it like that because later, if I have to take money out or something goes sideways and I need the emergency fund, then yeah, then I'm going to use it. So let's see. And that's all I really have for that. So my emergency fund is going to be really beefed up this month. Now, when my husband's paycheck comes in and I find out what the third paycheck actual numbers are, then we're going to decide what to do with the rest of the money. Part of the money I'm going to keep in the checking account, probably $1,000 or so, for my husband, me and my husband having the last few rooms of our house painted. We have our favorite painter at church that comes and paints in our house. He's going to do our master bath. He's going to do a 4th bedroom and then my office. So I'm going to save $1,000 for paint and him painting. And it takes 2 or 3 days for him to paint. And so I really like how he does everything. He's done an excellent job. He's done almost every room in the house, and that is going to be the last of it. And some trim work and things like that. So this is going to be really, really good. And then the rest of it, I don't know what we're going to do, but probably goes toward, part of it's going to go towards Christmas spending, and then part of it's, whatever's left is going to go into the emergency fund and maybe fill up that 50% or more halfway point of our emergency fund. So we know we're definitely getting these 2 lines, 1, 2, and half of this one. So if we can finish this one off, and then maybe start saving for this last 3 parts. Oh my gosh, that is going to be amazing. I'm super excited to save all that money and figure out what to do next. So that's going to be really good. Just to have 3 months sitting in the bank designated for an emergency, the safety you feel with that is totally amazing. So that is the plan. Sorry, I couldn't write it out and close out my savings tracker, but I'll show you that when I close out my month at my paycheck 3 close out for the month. Now, the last thing I have here is my credit card log. And if you've seen my sinking funds videos before and you made it to the end of my videos, you would see me do my credit card transaction log. So I always start with a balance. As you can see, I brought over $846.08. I did pay that off. Here's a $258 payment. And then here's this. I haven't completely paid it off now that I think about it. Yeah. Oh no, I did. I'm looking at the wrong place. This is what I owe. Okay, I'm awake now. So I have my date, the amount that I charged onto the credit card, the description, what I owe, and available credit. So this is the available credit on October 1st. This is what I owed. I had some fees. Yes, my son wanted me to order some Legos because they weren't in the stores here. And he had birthday money. It was about $200. He spent $190 of it. And I went to lego.com, got his order. We have certain subscriptions or planned spending on our credit card, which is highlighted in yellow on the side. And as you can see, most of it's yellow. Not a lot of black lines. Black lines means I went and spent and decided to pay for it later. And that is why this was $800. it bit me in the behind, and I wanted to quit doing that. So this month I haven't been using the credit card to pay for things. I did pay for my son's cap and gown stuff and announcements and everything here, but I paid out of my checking account and I reduced my sinking funds deposit by this amount, so that's how I used the money and paid for it. It was just because I purchased everything online. I didn't want to use my debit card. I used my credit card. But all the subscriptions have come out. Jack paid the Legos, so which was fine, and then everything else is done. So all our subscriptions for the month have come out, and I can pretty much close it out. That is also a planned spending. So there's that. I am going to leave it kind of open. I don't have to do any math because I do the math as I go along. I do owe $452.32. If you look at my paycheck to budget, I think I do have planned 400 and some change. Or is it 200? Let me see. Paycheck to, what does that look like? Visa subscriptions. Yes, I budgeted for paycheck in my paycheck too. The $470.10, which is more than what I need. This was a guesstimate on what I probably would need to pay, and I'm under that, so I am good to go. It's already in the budget to pay that, and I get to keep $20 or just under $20 for that. So that is my credit card log, and easy peasy. I love using the credit card log because what it does is it reminds me how much I owe, and when I see this number go up and my available credit go down, I get nervous. This is a way of making using your credit card kind of hurt or keep you in check or make you nervous. So you're not just swiping your credit card all the time. It makes you think before you spend. And since most of my spending is online and not in the store so much, when I go to spend and grab that credit card, I think of my credit card log and I'm like, oh, wow, this is a big deal. So I don't want to carry a balance over next month. This is important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and close out this video, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's it. So I have my sinking fund savings tracker. I did do the total. The total here, if nothing changes, is $13,650.70, and my credit card log. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have conversations in the comments below about how you do your sinking fund savings tracker, what you use them for. Is it annual expenses? Is it for daily spending? I'd love to hear from you guys, and let's talk about it in the comments. So I hope you have an amazing and blessed day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.